My name is Nelson Cintra. I am an alumni of the Labouré Society. I participated in 2 classes. I had a great time fundraising. It was really an incredible experience that I've had over this past year. And thanks be to God, the Labouré Society has been able to award me grants large enough to enable me to go into formation. So I'll be starting formation in just 4 weeks here at Mundelein Seminary. I'll be studying for the Diocese of Boise, Idaho. Out of this past class, there were 14 aspirants, and 4 have returned for another class, and 10 have been awarded grants large enough to enter formation. So the Labouré Society has sent 10 aspirants from this last class into formation. And every time that I share that with someone, their response is always, wow, that is more than twice as many folks that have entered my diocese or my religious order this past class. So the Labouré Society is a gift to the church, and I am very grateful to have been a part of it. Specifically, I'd like to thank Sai for receiving this gift from God and being open to it and opening it and sharing it with the world. I also want to thank the board members, all of the volunteers, the trainers. It has really blown me away many times throughout this past year, the incredible support that has come from these folks. One example I want to share is one of the board members who travels to my area for business. He made 2 trips to my town to attend events. And those trips that he made were 4 hours, a 4-hour drive each way to come to these events. So when they say that they're behind us aspirants to support us, they really stand behind that. They're working really hard day and night to deliver priests and religious to the church in the very near future. Another thing I'd like to mention that has stood out to me is the level of training that we receive here. So there have been CEOs and professional trainers in fundraising and in sales and lawyers and successful and effective people from many different fields that volunteered their time and their talents to be here with us, train us in the beginning in the boot camp, and then support us throughout the campaign. Every week for the last 6 months, I spoke with a gentleman who is a CEO and the founder of an investment firm, and he gave me one-on-one coaching every week for those 6 months. And to think of how valuable that is, if I were to go out and pay a company to train me and to speak with me one-on-one for 6 months every week, that alone would add up to several thousands of dollars. So that's just one element in which the Labouré Society has brought in the talent and the time and the treasures of many different folks in the church to support future priests and religious. And that relationship, which has developed over the last 6 months through this process, will continue to grow. So a couple of days ago when I came into town, I was able to meet with this gentleman and have lunch with him, and he took me to the cathedral in town, and we spent an hour in the cathedral. And we're only going to be 6 hours away once I'm in seminary. So I'm sure we'll continue to talk, and I know that he's going to be praying for me, and his family's going to be praying for him, and they can be sure that I'll be praying for them as well. The last thing I wanted to mention is the ministry that the Labouré Society is. At first, when I thought of the fact that I would have to fundraise so I could go into formation, my first thought was that it would be a big obstacle that I would have to overcome. And that's how I saw it in the beginning. But very quickly I realized that it wasn't an obstacle that I had to overcome, but it was really an opportunity to participate in a ministry right now. For the last 12 months, I've sent over 500 letters, I've made over 700 phone calls, and I've sat down and had one-on-one meetings with people, over 100 of them, over 100 of these meetings, in which I was sharing my story with them, sharing how God has impacted my life and called me to be a priest, or called me to enter formation, to go into the seminary. And as you can imagine, these conversations really grew in where we're sharing our lives with each other, we're sharing our struggles, we're sharing our joys, and we're praying for each other. So it's not, I don't have to wait until I overcome my loans and then go into formation and then I'm ordained a priest 6, 7, 8 years from now, God willing, to start a ministry, the Labouré Society gave me an opportunity to do that today. In doing that, I've become friends with many people in my diocese and in my area, and many of them have invited me to their houses for dinner and invited me to significant events in their lives, such as a baptism and a wedding. And these are families that I knew as acquaintances before, and that I knew them from the parish, but because of this process, it has really grown into deeper friendships. So, I guess to sum up, I want to thank God for the opportunity that He's given me to be a part of this organization. I'm honored to be here during this training class. For the following class, there are now 12 aspirants that will be fundraising for the next 6 months, and hopefully they will raise enough money collectively where many of them will be able to enter the seminary and formation houses and convents all around the country in the near future. I'm going to be praying for them. I know that they're going to be praying for me, and I'm very excited to see them in their habits and in their cassocks and entering formation in just a short time from now. Thanks for listening. God bless.